Hi everyone, Emmy here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this lovely Christmas tree. So this is a design by Helena Kemlikova from Presciosa. I do have the PDF that Carmi sent me, so I will put it in the description so you can follow if you'd like to follow with written instructions, and there's photographs and everything of each step. I did find it confusing to follow. It's super simple to start with. I did find it difficult to follow, but there's a bit of a joke about that. My wife says I never read instructions, which is funny because as a nurse, we had procedure and policy manuals for everything. So if there was a new task we didn't know how to do, you'd pull it off the shelf in the binder and go through step by step, which is hilarious because now I never read instructions. So you might read the instructions and it'll be fine. I found the pictures in my head didn't line up with the description. I kept it was confusing where it was. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to do it. And if you're awesome with written instructions, it's there for you. Let's talk about this lovely Christmas tree. So we have to talk about these incredible clear lined Terra intensive colors that Carmi sent me from Presciosa. They are so delicious. And you know, one of the things I mentioned in the original unboxing was when you make something with it, it reminds you of an ice storm where you get the ice accumulating on the branches and stuff. And of course, they made a tree with it. So it's kind of like wintry crystal fun stuff. And yeah, so let's get started. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk to you about this design, but we'll do it as we go along. There was something I was going to show you. I'll think of it. So I'm going to put these aside. We are going to do, so I did a sample of the dark green, which I had, and I did a sample of the light green. Let me see what this one's called. Yeah, light green strung. You're going to need, so you're going to need your clear lined Terra intensive colors. For these ones we're using size 10, but I did do some designs in size 11, and now this is not the full amount. This is, I think I went to row 10. This goes to row 15, so I made it a bit smaller. So you can definitely use, if all you have is size 11s, you can do that. I haven't tried it with a size 8, so I don't know how big it would look. Yeah, so we're going to use this color here. This is the pink, of course. Pink. It's Emma. And what I did was the design is basically the same. You just keep adding one set of beads to each of the little prongs on the branches. And so what I did was I did the bottom half of the tree ahead of time so that we could show the whole thing. So we'll do the top half and then we'll add these together. You're going to need some wire. Carmi was so nice to send me this awesome wire wrapping craft wire. This was super, I guess it's not too strong. I find it a little strong for my hands because I have problems with my thumbs, but it worked, as you can see, it worked out lovely for that. So we're going to string it on wire. So that's why I mentioned it's important. It is important to have like a stronger wire because if you look, this one's not too bad. I think I used a thicker wire, but you can see, look, it's a sad tree. So yeah, you need it to stand up like that. And these lovely wooden beads, I could not believe it when she sent me a bag of wooden beads. So let's pull one out. These beads are absolutely gorgeous. I was amazed at how beautiful they are. my brother's a woodworker. He does really amazing furniture and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just stunned that they can get these beautiful beads so lovely. So I would love to do a beautiful necklace with these beads and some lovely charms. But we're going to need that for the base of the tree. And so you're going to need things like your scissors. I'm using a size 10 needle. Actually, you know what? We need a smaller needle. It just occurred to me. So I was thinking a size 10 needle because our thread, this part is important. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. So I went ahead, this was my first try here, and I went ahead and used just a regular number size 6 of dragon thread or fire line, whatever you have. You want your thread to be nice and, let's pull this out. Actually, I need my clear now that I think of that. So this one's green, depending on what color you're doing your tree in. And let me, oh, this one. Like looking for my white. Okay. I knew I was organized, but you can see how it keeps its shape. And the idea is you want your branches to stick out on their own. So you could kind of fluff them up and they stick out. On this one, look, this is very sad. Like I said, it's very sad. The branches are just too heavy. So definitely, probably at about 10 or row 12, between 10 and 12, it starts to really come down and dangle. So you definitely want to use a thicker thread. So whatever you have should work as long as it's going to keep its shape. So yeah, look at how lovely that is. This one, like I said, again, is just, I think I used, let me take a look at what I have. Yeah, I used a thinner thread on this one. You can see this would be nice if they stuck out. So that was my attempt at a pearl one. Like, looks like there's snow on the tree. Should show you them all. And then this one I used the Terra Intensive. I can't remember the color of this one. I meant to look it up. This color is kind of like a lime green. And this one, again, the branches come down quite a bit. And I should show you. I made this one. So you can use these for ornaments. You can use them as pendants. You can use them, hook them onto like a keychain ring, something like that. But they're so beautiful, you want to display them. So this one I decided to do like a pendant on a necklace. And I added a snowflake charm on the bottom and a beautiful vintage kind of color pearl along with this lovely pink. This is one that I got. Is this the same color? No, that's not quite the same color. This is a Presciosa color. It's a silver line, but it's the kind of the square shape, so it gives it a different kind of design. And then these are just chandelier pendants for earrings that you get online, and I put all Swarovski crystals. Ha ha. So there's my vintage pink. I had to get that in. Okay, so we're going to use the white. So when I was talking about needles, I wanted to use the size 10 because this stuff's thick to thread on a size 12. But because it's thick and we go through each branch twice, this clogs up the bead hole, so you need a smaller needle. You know what? It wasn't that much different. Of course, I can't find my size 12 needles. Oh, here they are. They're in my container ready to go. So, size 12 and your beads. There. And so I'm going to take a wingspan. The reason I hesitate for this part is each row, so there's 18 rows. I'm showing you the wrong one here. There's 18 rows on this. Did I miss one here? No, there it is. So there's 18 rows. Each row starts with the same base. I should show it on here so you can see. Okay. Let's bring this up. Make sure it's focus. So each row starts with this base, and then each prong we're going to add, or branch, we're going to add 1 bead extra. So the reason I'm hesitating about the thread is for the first couple of ones, you're going to be tying off your thread and cutting it like just once you get these guys in. So you don't need a whole thing, is what I'm getting at. So I would recommend you start with the largest one and then go down. And that way, as you get near the end of your thread, if you don't want to waste your thread, then you can create the tiny ones that don't have the prongs on it. Anyway, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's get started. You're like, oh my God, Emma, just give me the instructions. What? You know how I roll. So let's get this on there. You'll be glad you waited. Trust me. So big thank you to Carmi for sending me this. I think she heard in my voice the other day being a little overwhelmed with design ideas and trying to get ahead of the holiday rush of designing. So she sent this to me and then sent me the stuff overnight, so I had a chance to play with the beads before I showed it to you. So big thank you, Carmi. You know what? We're probably going to need more than that. Okay, so I'll leave that one out so you can see. So you're going to pick up 6 beads to start. So you have 6 beads there. You're going to bring it down to the bottom. And there's the end of your thread. And let me tilt this. Okay. You're going to come back up through all of them. And bring your thread through again. And then pull it so that you create that small circle. Then take your end and tie it. So you can leave this tail and tie it later, but I like to get it out of the way. So once you get going, you'll figure out which way works best for you. So I did one knot, I'm going to do another, and then I'm going to cut that. Like that. There. Nice and tight. And then cut that. Now, you can like take your thread and pass it through another bead to pull that tail in. I don't recommend it. Like I said, the thread is thick, so once we get these all attached, you're not going to see any little tails or anything. So you're going to go through your first bead like that, pull it all through like that, and let's get these over here. You're going to pick up 2 beads. You're going to loop around to the other side of the bead you just came through, and I think we can get that a little bigger there. So there's our 2 beads, and we're going to loop back around, Pull it all the way through. I lost a Christmas tree. I think it's hanging off the side of my desk. Okay, so now we're going to go through the next bead and do the same. We're going to do that for all 6. So let's bring that through. So you can actually go through both when you're bringing it through. I'll show you what I mean. So pick up 2. These are size 10 beads. I can't remember if I mentioned that. Let me get over here. Okay, so you're coming out of this side. We're going to go to this side, but now we're going to pass through the next one. That's going to set us up for the next set of 2, so we don't have to do that multiple times. Okay, pick up 2. Go through the next one. So you're coming out of this side. We're going to go through this side, and we're going to pass through that one. And just keep going around. Pick up 2. Go through the next one. Getting it ready for the next set of 2. Like that. So you can see it's starting to create like a little flower pattern or a snowflake pattern. So come around to the other side of that bead. Go through the next one. Like that. And just them sitting side by side. This is the last bead here. So we're going to pick up 2. We're going to go through this one, but we're going to go on an angle. We're going to go through. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. Sorry. I'm getting ahead. I'm so used to doing the large ones. So we're going to pass through that bead. Okay, so that's what you have. So now we're going to cut our thread. This is actually row 2. I apologize. Row 1 is right here. And I did actually change the design a bit. Of course, you say. Of course you did, Emma. Let me just discuss that for a second. So, the first and so the way they have it described, the first and second, they're calling them floors. I call them rows. So the first row should be just a circle of 6. So we'll do that next. Just a circle of 6. The second row should be just a circle of 6, but with size 8O beads. Now, I did it with the 8O beads. I didn't like the way it looked, and I think what they were trying to do is give you this size here, and then the next size kind of inside here. But all I did was I did this one, and then I did this one. And I don't know if you can... So there is a bit of a jump from the tiny one to the middle one. So this middle one here, which is what we have here, this is actually row 3 in the instructions from Helena. So I apologize for that. I just felt like trying to match up 10O beads and 8O beads of the same color and stuff like that. I felt like we didn't need that. So yeah, this is third row. So now we're going to tie this off. So I'm just going to go through the next, because that's where we started with our little knot. So to avoid another, clumpy area, I'm going to go through the next one. All tight. I am just going to bring my needle through the middle and just go around once and hold it between those 2 beads like that. Bring your thread through. Watch it doesn't jump a bead. There. And you've got a nice little knot. It's tightened everything. Now we can cut that. Yeah. You know what? We should pass through one more bead before we cut it. I don't think it's necessary, but here's the other thing about using the thicker thread is it's less likely to get loose and come out of a bead. So when you're securing your knots, it's not as much as, say you were making a bracelet where the thread is structural, so it's holding weight, holding tension. This isn't. It's sitting there. It's not going to move unless somebody starts picking at it. So there is row 3. According to the instructions, for my purpose, it's row 2. So hint, when you're doing this, set up your mat and put your rows as you go in order, and then this way you don't have to keep counting, because when you get a bunch of these and they're all only off by 1, you're gonna get them mixed up. So let's do the next one. So we'll do the first one that I skipped. Pick up 6. One more, like that. There's your 6. And do the same thing. Super simple. Come down, go back through, bring your thread all the way through, and bring it like that, and create a knot. I am not a big, I like doing the knots at the beginning of my designs rather than a stop bead, but I'm not very good. So I did actually practice knotting. Like you see some of the YouTubers where they're just like this with the needle and doing some fancy schmancy stuff with their knotting. I'm like, oh, one day I'll be able to do that. So when I was working on these, I'm like, Emma, you need to practice this. You can't just wake up one day and know how to do it. So when I was in nursing school, we had what they called a lab, and it was set up like a hospital. And you would go in, like you'd sign in on the weekends and go practice, and they had like mannequins and everything that you could practice all the different skills. So I'm just going to pass through a few. This is it for this one. So it's not a big deal. You don't have to worry about the knot clogging a hole or anything. So something like that. I'm going to see, get that a little tinier there, and then cut this one. There. So there is row 1. Put that next to, so you can see the jump from that to that. Yeah, so the next would be a size 8/0 beads. You would add 6 on that. I skipped it and I didn't notice much difference. So let's, our next one, we're going to do the same as this, only we're going to start adding around the edges. So pick up 6. Like that. Come down, pass through it again from the bottom. That, and bring that like that, so it comes together. Do your knot. One and 2. And cut this off. Here's the needle. I'm gonna go through the first bead. That. We're gonna pick up 2, so we're gonna repeat exactly what we did for that one. Pick up 2. You're coming out of this side of the bead. You're gonna go to the other side. That, and you're going to put your needle through the next bead so that you're ready to receive this second 2 beads. Pick up 2 beads. That. You're coming out of this bead, you're going to go on the other side and poke the next bead. That. Pick up 2. Oops, that's 3. Come through the other side and grab the next bead. Pick up 2. Go to the other side and go through the next one. And I'm going to pull that's a little loose there. There's. Pick up 2. Go to the other side and pick up the next bead in line. Pick up your last 2 on this set here. Go through here. Now at this point you can actually go through, let me see if I can show that to you. So we have our 2 beads on. We're looping it around on this bead, but we're going to, instead of like continuing on that circle, we're going to go to the top row or the second row of beads that we added, which is like the first set of 2. And I'll show you why, because this is the row 4 according to Helena's directions, and row 3 according to mine. So now we have the exact same thing as we did here. So that's how this design is really cool, because it builds off of each of them. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a bead in between each of those 2 sets that we added on the second row. So we're going to add a bead here, and all the way around. And that will be it. That will be our 3rd row in my design, 4th in Helena's. So pick up 1 bead. So you're going to go through the next bead and you're going to put your needle through the following bead as well. And that sets you up to add the next bead in that spot. And it also cinches those beads together. And right now it's not a big deal, but when we get to the bigger, longer rows, you'll see how cinching those helps the structure as well. So pick up a bead. You're coming out of this bead here. You're going to go into the next one and pass through the second one. I may enlarge that. I feel like, let me see, it might be just my angle. Okay. Pick up a bead. You're coming out of this one. We're going to go through the next one and the following bead. Like that. And you don't, just pull it to place it. You don't have to pull tight. Pick up a bead. Coming out of this one, we're going to go through the next 2. Pick up a bead. Go through the next 2. We're kitchen stuff. You can see it's starting to look like a star or a snowflake. Okay, so this is the last one. So we're going to go through, put our bead in here, but we're going to go through the next 2 and then we'll tie off our thread. That. So that's what you have. So I'm going to go through the next bead, and then there is a thread path going from that bead to the middle bead, so I'm just going to bring it down and tie it off there away from the edge like that. Okay, so go from this bead down to this one, It's kind of going in the next different direction. That. Just like that. And again, you don't have to put a knot in here. You could go through a few beads. That will never come apart. Unless you went exactly to maybe this one and pulled it. But we will put a knot in there. Let me see if we can get a thread bridge here. So just once, put your thumb on it, pull your thread through, and I'm holding on to that so it doesn't jump a bead, and then let me go. I'm going to skip 2 beads here just because our initial knot is in that spot. I don't want too much thread there. Go through the next bead. And this happens, this stuff annoys me, but I'm like, I clearly needed to use the thicker thread, so there. Cut that. There. So let's take a look at what we have so far. There. So we have 1, 2, 3. If you're following Helena's design, you need one of these using size 8/0 beads right there. So this would be row 4 or floor 4. So with the next one we're going to do exactly the same, starting with this, adding the second row, and then adding, instead of just adding 1 bead, we're going to add 2 beads to each section. So you can see as your thread starts to get shorter from using the same thread, you'll have to, you might want to organize it different, do the longer rows first, that kind of thing. So pick up 6, there's 3, and 3 more. Dot. Bring it down like that. Go back up through all those beads. Hang on to your thread, pull it down. That. And make your knot. I also have this finger that doesn't, when it gets tired and I'm using it a lot, it gets stuck sideways. Freaks my wife out. I'm like, look, Jen. And I pop it back in, and the joint is... So if you do a lot of beadwork like this too, you probably have the same problem. It's kind of a occupational hazard. It's my beading finger. You know how some people have a nasty finger? It's my beading finger. Okie dokie. So we're back on track again. We are going to go through the first one here. There. Pick up 2. I'm going to go a bit faster because you've seen this now 3 times. So let's kind of go quickly. Oh, I didn't. So this is, I found I was doing a lot. You get tired, right? You forget to go through the next bead. So let's go through the next bead. You're wondering why all the beads are clumped together. Only in beading, you say? So I'm curious to hear what people do for the holidays when it comes to gifts in beading. The last couple of years I did, if you follow my channel, you'll see what I did for family. So I did ornaments 1 year and 1 year bracelets and stuff like that. But I kind of like these Christmas trees. They're so much fun. Once you get the hang of it, it goes really quick. There. One more. So our last row here, or last bead, I'm going to go through with my 2 beads, and then I'm going to scoop up the bead in the next row. So if you get confused as to where to add your branches, just remember it's going to be between the 2 beads that are attached to the singular bead at the bottom. So it's kind of like a little V shape. You want to place everything in between them. Okay, so now we're going to pick up 2. So this one we picked up 1 and added. This one we're going to pick up 2. It's going to be a little bit different. So now you have your 2. Bring them down. So we want to place these beads in between the 2 beads. But because we have 2, what we're going to do is we're going to skip the first one. It's already on the line, but we're going to skip it. And we're going to go down through the next bead and over and go through 2. So you can do this separately. You can go through this. You've got your 2 beads from that row. So let's do it separately so you can see what I'm talking about. And pull that in place. Okay, so there is your next row. And these 2 beads that we just added are actually in between these 2, and that's where we're going to go. So we need to go to the next set where the little V is. So we want to place our thread into the next bead, and now our thread is positioned in between those 2 beads. Pick up 2, bring them to the bottom of your thread like that. Skip the first one, go through the second one, then you're going to go through 2 beads. You're going to set yourself up for the next set of 2. Pull everything in snugly this time. So you can see they're sticking out a little more. These are lovely. They look like snowflakes to me. I think with this design we could probably figure out some really cool snowflake designs. So grab your next 2. And these beads are incredible. Skip your first bead, go through the second one on the line, then go through the bead on the bottom row, and then through the next one to set ourselves up. Pull it through. There. And you can kind of move these around. Pick up 2, bring it down. So there's your 2 you added. You're going to skip the first one, go through the next one, then go through 2 beads. So that's what you have so far. And you just keep doing that all the way around. So pick up 2 beads. Skip the first one, go through the second one, and then go through 2 beads. I'm going to go slow on this one. So our thread is coming out between the 2 beads on this row. And if you're confused, this is the V shape. So if you look at the singular bead in the middle, there's one on top on that side and one on that side. Our thread has to be in between. We pick up 2 beads, that, bring them all the way down, that. Okay, so you can see you have 2 beads on there. So now you want to skip this one. This is the bead that's going to secure these beads on. So you're going to go through the second one. And if you see your threads coming out of this side, you're going to go to this side here. And no worries if it does that. You'll see when we bring it down, you just pull that end bead out, hold the other bead, and pull it in. So now you can see there's kind of like a gap there. We're just going to attach this by going through the next bead in that row. And now we're back to the beginning. And it will close that up and give it some structure. So now just find a spot to go back down, and let's go through here, the next bead. I am going to put my knot here, that, and pull, like that. And I'm going to take my thread and I'm just going to go up through this bead here. These two on the end. And there, it's gone. The knot, it's hiding. And that's it. This is the 4th row or 5th on Helena's design. So let's take a look at what we have. And you can position these so they look a little, and you don't have to worry if you see thread, because you're not going to see that. This is how you're going to see it, this way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next row, which I'm calling 5 in Helena's design, like I said, you have one in here. It's, what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's going to be 5. It'll be 6 in her design. We're going to do the exact same thing. So now we added 2 on the last one, each of these branches. We're going to add 3 this time. We're going to keep doing that in this video till we get to number 5. And the reason being is I went ahead and I already did. Let's take a look at this one here. I'm worried about taking it off. We'll have to recount everything. Let's take a look at this one. Pretty sure this is 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So you're going to continue all the way till you get. She does 15. Let me see what I did here. Which would be like 18 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I did. I think there's 15 on there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, 14. Oh, here's 15. I knew I did 15. Let's get that one back on there so I don't lose it. There. So you're going to end up with a total of 18 rows. Okay. So let's keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, I'm going to move these over here. I always set them up on the other side. I think a lot of beaders do that and then they end up moving them. So bring these down just like we did before. Come back through all of them. Bring it down. Tie the knot. See what I mean? I don't know how they, well, you know what? I know how they do it on YouTube. They edit their videos. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's a big secret. I'm just kidding. Everybody knows they edit their videos. You know, it looks so lovely the way they do it. But that's not my jam. I'm just double checking, make sure I have 6 on there. I'm going to move these over so they don't get confused with the beads. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So I'm going to go through this one here. Pick up 2. Go through the next 2. Yeah, see, I pulled the knot a bit in there. It's a bit sticky. Pick up 2. Go through 2. That. Pick up 2. They have all the Christmas craft shows on here. Crafting is a big thing here in Nova Scotia. A lot of handmade stuff. And like I said, my brother is a woodworker, and I used to do the craft shows for him. And his stuff's pretty incredible, and there's a lot of people out there, really amazing, beautiful stuff that they're making. You know what? I haven't been to a craft show since COVID, and I've been wanting to do just to see what people are making. And I'm still a bit nervous about being exposed to respiratory infections, just because I'm still having to deal with some breast cancer stuff, and I may have to have some surgery along with that. So I think I need to make sure that I stay out of crowds. So this one we're going to do 3 on each time. So we're set up in between this kind of V shape. So bring those down. So you can see there's your 3 beads. We're going to skip the first one. We're going to go through the 2, and then we're going to go through 2 on the edge going this way. And bring that in. So there's your next little branch. Pick up 3. And go through. Basically the same, you're just adding 1 extra each time. That. 2, 3. Bring them down. Skip the first one. Go through the next 2. And then bring your needle through the next 2 beads. And you can pull that tight. Pick up 2, 3. Bring them down. So we also have a really popular art school in Nova Scotia, or in Halifax. So sometimes at the craft shows you get students selling their artwork, and they have all different mediums that they work in. Glass blowing is a huge one here, and stained glass and all kinds of glass work. So it's really cool. You can get some really beautiful stuff. Get 3. And this is our last one. Bring it down. skip the first one, go through, and we're going to go through the next 2 beads so that we cinch that together like that. And just like that. There's our next set. So I'm going to go through the next bead and then put a knot in there. Tie off. Bring your thread down and scoop that. Put your thumb on it or your finger. Tight. I'm going to go up through the branch to hide my thread. That. There. Cut this. Careful you don't cut your thread that's holding that last bead on. That would be very sad. And that's being polite, because let me tell you, when you're tired and you're doing these, you're like, oh, they're so much fun. They are. So there. So we're going to do one more. This was 3. We're going to do 4 and 5. And you can see, look, I have enough for maybe 1, and I'll have to use a new piece of thread. So pick up 4. There's 6. Pass through. The good thing about getting less thread on your needle is you're not having to pull as much thread. So it seems to go a little faster. Less tangling of your thread. That. And cut that. Let's go through the first bead. There. Pick up 2. Go through 2. All the way around. Oh, pick up 2. So I had my injection to my SI joint last week, and everything went well. So I was resting. They said I could continue to work out, but I think without giving them too much information about the past year of having this SI joint be pinching a nerve, that, you know, I think they probably would have said, yeah, you should take a break for at least a week. But anyway, so it was really beautiful out on, I don't know, Thursday or Friday. And so I decided to try to bike ride. And we start out by cycling around the neighborhood. And that way, if there's a problem, I can go home and I'm fine. But once you leave and you go out further out, you have to actually loop around to get back home. So yeah, I made 20 minutes on the bike and it was not good. Okay, so this row is 4 beads to the branch. So we have 4. Bring it down. That. Skip the first bead, go through the next 3, and then pass through 2 beads. And pull that in, and there's your next branch. Let's do that all the way around. So today, I realized that there was no way that I could cycle for the rest of the season, which, you know, the first 10 minutes on the bike was beautiful. There was no wind and it was like gorgeous and I was so excited. And then the last 10 minutes when I turned around to come home, I was like, "Oh, this was a bad idea." So Jen had to help me get off the bike, and she put my bike. Oh, see what I did? So I went through the next two beads without passing through the last one. So bring your beads down, skip the last one, and then go through everything. That happens when you're not paying attention. When you're chit-chatting with your buds. So today, being Tuesday, I was able to go to the pool, and I managed to do, I got about halfway through my swim. I'd usually do an hour or 2K, and I got halfway through and I was like, oh gee. So I was thinking, I kick from the knees, and so I thought it's not going to affect my SI joint too bad, or my glutes. But what happens when you're kicking your feet is you're tensing your glutes. So about halfway through, I was like, oh, this is not good. This feels like somebody kicked me in the butt. So I just settled down, used my arms only, and did some backstroke and stuff like that. So I managed to get through the full thing. So I'm so excited. So this is the last one on this set. I'm going to show you something design-wise. So there we go. You can see there's sections like this where it's not attached, and that was just because I probably didn't pull enough. So you can actually go through around and reconnect those just by, scooping the two beads on either side of those prongs. So there's one. And you don't have to do the whole thing. It just that one looked a bit loose. And you know what? You don't have to do it, because at this point you're not going to see that anyway. So there. And tie off. I don't like tying off where there's a branch, so I'm going to go through the next one. There. That. And grab a thread bridge, bring it around. I'm going to put my finger there, pull it through, and go up. Like this. And then clip this. So there. It's our next one. So I just line them up so I know where I'm at. So we're going to do one more here. I have enough to do one of these. So you're going to do two of these in a brown color for the trunk. So if you see here, the trunk is there. It's just the two. Oh, you know what? Instead of doing it in brown, I'm going to do it in a fancy color. I'm going to be all fancy like, but I kind of want to do it different than the bright pink. Let me see what color we can do. I wonder if it would be too crazy to do it. Yeah, I think. Let's not go crazy, Emma. I can hear you guys now. Let me see. Here's some size 10-0 that Carmi sent me from John Bead. So yeah, let's do these two. And I'm doing that now because, like I said, I have like this amount of thread. It might be a little sketch, but we'll try it anyway. pick up 6. There's 3 and 6. That. Yeah, there's not much here. It'll work. We got this. I can hear you. You could do it, Emma. So thank you again. Everybody was so lovely asking about my SI joint. Yeah. I'm going to have to strengthen that leg again. I lost 2 inches around from that leg. And I'm noticing now I have to still, so I'm like, I can walk upstairs now. Before I had to crawl up the stairs. So I'm gonna cut this off. We may be able to get the second one in on this piece of thread. Let me go through the next bead and see if I can hide that a bit. Yep, perfect. And cut this one. Okay. So this is the top of the tree. And this is the trunk. I'll just leave these ones down here. So let me pick up 6. That's 4. Okay. Let me move my thread a bit right to the edge here. There. That. Bring it down. Go through it again. Now that's being frugal. You saw it here first. I used to save all my thread ends and stuff like that with this stuff. So this fire line I had to buy at the what do you call it, the sporting goods store. And oh yeah, big joke was my wife would sit in the car while I ran in, and I'd come out with like this, right, these 2 things, and I'd say, look at that, $100. She's like, what? Like, yeah, like $40 for a roll and then tax. So super stoked that I now have my good thread from John Bead. La 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 la, this lovely stuff that you get at Michael's for, I think it's $10. Okay, let's cut this piece off. And we'll pass the bead over that knot like that. So to hide it. And I'll take my thread off my needle because we're going to need to thread some on for the next. And so that is going to be our trunk. We're going to do the light pink trunk because we can. I love pink. No. Yes. Yeah. Thread. I'm losing it. Okay, we don't need a lot. Just a wee piece here. One of the ladies at the pool is turning 90. So they had a card out by the front desk for people to sign. She's amazing. She's at the pool every few days. Okay, so this is the last one. We're going to do 5. So we're going to pick up 6. There's 6. Bring it around. Go back through. I didn't know, somebody must have moved my camera. There's gremlins in here. Bead gremlins. Oh, and Let's scoop this around. I have to say, okay, so here's the dealio. All my Christmas shopping's done. I actually, last night, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff for some lovely people at John Bead. So I make so much stuff. I wanted to, the same people get my stuff all the time, like my nieces and stuff. So I wanted to, maybe pass some of this stuff on to somebody who's never received a gift like that or whatever, and all the great things they've been doing at John Bead for me. So I went through my stuff, and actually I went through the bracelets that were not completed. So all they needed was a clasp, and I pulled everything out, and I was like, oh, I got a lot of work to do. Not a big deal. And then I went through the ones that are actually finished. There's hundreds of them. So needless to say, I went through, measured the sizes, put little stickers on them saying what size they are, and I have names of certain people specifically so I can, I picked ones that I wanted to give them and stuff like that. So I'm super excited. Now, I was going to send those with Canada Post, which they are in position for a strike starting on Friday, I think. So I won't be sending them. I may end up shipping them from another company, but I'm sure everything will work out. But yeah, so I'm super stoked that that's done. Okay, so now we're going to set ourselves up to add the 5s. So we're going to pick up 5 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Bring it down. Skip the first one, go through the next 4, and then go over to the next 2 beads. Pull that tight, and you can straighten it out a bit. And go to the next one. Pick up 5. That. Skip the first one, go through all of those beads, and then the next 2 on that little snowflake, wheel, flower, whatever you want to call it. 5. Oops. We went to the thrift store on the way back from the pool, and there was 2 women there. I'm sure they were a couple. They were giving off that vibe, and when I said, oh, my wife over there, they both smiled. But they had little chihuahuas with them in the store. Oh, they were so tiny. I think Jen's happy that I stopped saying I want one. I used to have dogs, and Jen asks me all the time, how do people do it? They have to get up all the time and walk the dogs and stuff. I said, and in the cold. And I'm like, when I was doing it, I never thought about it. It's kind of like having kids and changing diapers and feeding them. You don't think about it, you just do it, right? It's not like, there's no point, first of all, whining about it. It's just going to make you miserable if you just do it. But, I enjoyed going out with the dogs. It was like my alone time. But, yeah, they're totes adorbs. Yep, so this is the last one. I'm going to bring my thread over to the other side. And look at that. So you can see that it starts to get longer and longer, these prongs. And I had actually, for this one, I did a little different. And I'll explain to you what I did different on this one here. So once I got my set of beads on, then I went around a second time, and you can see there's 2 beads in between each of the branches. There's 1, 2. So what I would do is bring my thread over in between those, and I would add a shorter prong in here. So I think when I got to the 4s when I started adding them in between, and I did the same as I continued to add a second and third bead each set of these. So for say this one, there'd maybe be 3 beads here, 3 beads, 3 in between. If you're interested in that, we can do like a quickie remedial thing, doing all the different permutations, and we can make something like this to add to. Okay, so I'm just going to tie this off. That. And my finger there, pull that through, and bring this up through the branch. I'm like a little kid. When I saw this design, I went and pulled every sparkly bead I had. So I have like trays like this with all sparkly beads and then cool color beads. And I'm like, I'm gonna make a Christmas tree in every color. Yeah, I think Jen teases me. I'm like that with a lot of things. If I hear a saying that's funny, I will use that saying for the next couple of months. She's like, oh, okay, it was funny the first 10 times. Okay, so there's our 5. Let's move these beads out of the way. Get a tray to clear that. Put these away. And I'll show you how to put it together. This is the best part. So I have to tell you, when I was doing these guys here, and I used the wire that Carmi sent me. So in the design, you put your loop at the top, and you twist all your wire together. When you go to put these on, because they're so snug around, they actually spin all the way down. It's hilarious, and as these ones get longer, it's like this spinning top. It looks pretty cool. But I think we're going to do ours with some silver craft wire. This is what I was looking for. If I don't put these away right now, these will end up all over my desk. I need help organizing. Okay, so in the instructions, it says to cut a piece of wire 40 centimeters long. I cut mine 20 centimeters, and it was still way too long. Let's see what this is going to be. We'll cut it a bit long if we have to cut it. That's fine. Get my centimeters displayed here. So yeah, we'll do the 20 and you'll see what I mean. So let's go 20. You're going to need your round nose pliers for this. And I'm going to go, I kind of liked, let me see here. So depending what you want to do, let's get rid of this thread, excess thread. So if you want to hang this on the Christmas tree, you might want to put a bigger loop, or if you wanted to put like some connector where there's a little star and then a loop, you can do that too. I think we'll stick with this size, but on this one, I did just a small, because I knew I was going to be attaching it for a necklace. pendant. That one I made a bit smaller. Let's make it this size. And since it's pink, that's why I'm using the silver. But big thank you to Carly for sending me all that stuff. So this was that size. Huh. So just go to the middle and grab your... That is not even close to the middle, am I? What am I thinking? Let's flip that around. That. And then we're gonna twist these together. I think we need our pliers to hang on to this. So hang on to that. That. This is not really twisting, it's one wire is twisting around the other. This is not a big deal. You could actually just twist it a little bit and then cut it off. You don't need the whole thing. But we'll see if this spins the branches. Okay. Let's get this so that they're together. When we have to thread the... Okay. So you're going to start with your smallest one. Put it on there. Let's see if it spins. It does too. This is so much fun. Look at that. Surprise! Look at this is going to be beautiful. Oh yeah. Okay. So now I had these all ready to go. So let's bring them off this one. And just keep adding them. And it's getting hooked on the second wire. There we go. There we go. Nice spin works. Oh, that one cheated. It went straight down. That one looks longer than this one, but they are in order. It is smaller. So that's what I was saying about keeping them in order. Oh, this is going to be lovely. I'm so excited. Can you tell? Oh, this is lovely. Look at that. So you can kind of move them around so that they're alternating. But either way, they look amazing. This is so beautiful. Big thank you to Helena Kimlikova. So this is the trunk area. And, oh yeah, that was perfect in the pink. Like that. So then you take your bead. I'm just going to take a look. So in the design, she mentions about bending it over and put it back in. I'm guessing, like, I'm going to cut it about here and then try and bend it so that it kind of fills the hole a bit, and then we're going to glue it. So let me cut it while I have it on. Like that. Get my flush nose cutters to about there. And just fold over the tip. These guys here. I'm going to try to flatten them out a bit, make it easier. Just be careful of your beads, you don't damage them. Oh, that broke that piece. Okay, that's fine. And then that will fit, and that bends. Okay, so there, yeah, you can see it's right about there. Oh yeah, and it's nice and snug in there. So let's get our glue. I'm going to use some E6000 glue, and I'm going to get my toothpick. I'm going to put a drop on the top, and then I'm going to use the toothpick to kind of poke it in, and then I'm going to attach some, like, stick this end into my tube, and that will put some glue on that too. So we'll start with this drop. See what I mean? Oh, that actually went in pretty good. Just kind of poke it in there and wipe this excess in. I might put a bit, well, no, I think that's fine. So this is what I was saying about this piece here. So hang on to your beads and just kind of like poke the wire in, and then attach it like that. Oh, my glue's coming out. And this glue cures over 24 hours. Within, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, it's fine. Within like an hour, if you're concerned, I always leave it the 24 hours, and then it will not come off at all. You have to dig it out with a, a sharp object. So there's this tree. So let's put that one there. I'm just making sure that it's nice and perfect. Yeah, you can see the wire coming through. So that's that one. And this one, using these lovely clear lined beads and gorgeous design from Helena. There's my other tree, my lime. I had even thought about potentially doing some 15-0 seed beads, and when you're attaching these, putting them through so that they come out on the edge just around the bottom parts. That would be so cool. Ta-da! So there you go. Thank you to John Bead for sending these lovely beads and designs. The PDF will be in the description. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.